How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Caffeinated Christian Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Rigglesworth, along with Pastor Stephen Mannion and Bradley, the man with no last name, on the board.
Ryan's coming in late.
He might join us later. We don't know where Ryan is today exactly. All we know is he's getting ready for his wedding, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have a very special episode today. We're talking about some hot button issues taking place in our culture. And on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Bradley to introduce our topic for today.
All right, so our topic for today is, I'm sure most people have heard, is the Texas 6-week abortion ban. I'm trying to remember what the bill's name is, but basically Texas has come out and said that they will not allow abortions. You have a 6-week period. So 1 to 6 weeks old is your only period given that you can have an abortion in the state of Texas. And then after that, you cannot have an abortion legally. And there's been a lot of controversy around this issue. A lot of people that support abortion have been going after Texas. And there's just been all this controversy with it. And the reason why we decided to talk about it was, one, because abortion is a big issue in our culture. And there's been a lot of Christians that have come on either side of the issue and said, whether we support it or not. But on top of that, the Satanic Church decided that they would get involved with the Texas scandal. And they said, and I don't have the article right in front of me, but I can.
I have it right here.
Yep.
It says
it's a satanic temple.
It is a satanic temple.
Yeah.
But they said that they need to perform ritualistic abortions, if I'm not mistaken. They say that exact wording. And it's just something that we needed to talk about as Christians, and we felt that it was important to talk about as a topic.
Yeah, so I have an article here from Fortune magazine, and they're trying to use their status as a religious organization to claim its right to abortion as a faith-based right. So they're saying, well, you guys are all about faith-based rights, then we're saying it's our right to commit abortion. Right. So they want access to these abortion pills and stuff. And one of the things they said, here's what their attorney said. He says, I am sure Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who famously spends a good deal of his time composing press releases about religious liberty issues in other states, will be proud to see that Texas's robust religious liberty law, which he so vociferously champions, will prevent future abortion rituals from being interrupted by superfluous government restrictions meant only to shame and harass those seeking an abortion, wrote Satanic Temple spokesman Lucien. That sounds like an evil name, doesn't it? Lucien Greaves.
Yeah.
So he goes on to say that these rituals, like Bradley said, are an important part of their belief. So therefore, they should have the right to commit to murder babies because it's their religious right to murder babies.
Yeah. And if you actually, I don't know if it was in that article, but I know the Fox one and the Daily Wire one, both one. I sent the Fox one to the group chat. But he actually goes on to say the Lucien guy, Lucien Greaves or whatever his name is.
It's like a demon name.
It does.
Yeah.
I know.
I am Lucien.
He sounds like
That's creepy.
He sounds like an underworld character.
Yeah.
But he actually goes on to say that their church, quote unquote, doesn't actually worship Satan,
right?
But they just practice the practices of Satan.
They're only called the temple of Satan. That's all,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
and Satan's more of
they
a
do
moniker
rituals
than anything,
and they do rituals to him, but they don't worship.
Yeah, it's not like I expect to eat a chocolate chip cookie and have raisins in it. Like,
right?
It's a chocolate chip cookie. It has chocolate chips in it.
Then why have Satan in the name? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because it's
cool.
See, their whole argument is just, the argument that they have religious freedom to murder is just an insane argument. You see, that just shows that our nation was founded on Judeo-Christian morality. So you can't have a right to do something that
conflicts with that.
Yeah, that conflicts with that. You don't have a religious right to murder.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and they didn't tout this as a religious right until this bill was passed.
Exactly.
I mean, if that's not obvious, I don't know what is. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Well,
to
I
me.
mean, to me, it just looks like child sacrifice.
Oh
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how many religions in the past have had Christian sacrifices? Or I'm sorry, not Christian sacrifices. Christian sacrifices
yeah.
were part of it.
Yeah.
They did
But,
some Moloch.
if you
Old
lived
Testament.
in the early days.
Yeah, but I mean, like child sacrifices. I mean, like the Aztecs practiced child sacrifice all the time. They would for one of their sacrifices, they would sacrifice 80,000 people.
Ugh.
Well, one of the things it says, here comes Ryan. One of the things, whenever in the Old Testament, when God's addressing the people, I forget which people they were, but they were sacrificing babies to Moloch, the god Moloch, and they were
Yes.
sticking the babies on the burning hot statues, so they literally sizzle on the arms, and you hear their screaming, and it says that God heard their cries, heard the babies' cries for mercy and their cries from heaven, and he hears the cries of the 60 million unborn that we have murdered in our country since Roe versus Wade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I firmly believe that. Like Bradley mentioned, I'm not, we say Christians on both sides, but I do not believe you can be a Christian and be pro-choice
Absolutely.
because you're for murdering human beings.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know you didn't mean that.
No, that's exactly what I meant.
We say those kind of things. Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and obviously it's a hot button issue, and we've spent Christians have spent a lot of time, trying to change the legislation, which is important, and I think that's good. But there's a lot of other things that we really need to be about too. Like, my concern is that we could be so for the unborn life and making sure the life doesn't get aborted that we're not thinking about that person's life after.
You mean the mom?
And the mom.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
baby and the mom.
Oh, yeah.
So
And the
thinking about
dad.
everyone's life.
And the dad.
And the dad. There's three parties involved here. So there needs to be, I believe, a more comprehensive approach to how we approach this issue as believers, because it's all been legislation. And I believe there's a place for changing legislation. There should be.
Yeah.
But there also has to be, okay, how are believers coming alongside and supporting the moms and the dads and the babies in these situations where not in every case, but in many cases, the moms are thinking to themselves, like, I have 4 mouths to feed, and now I have a 5th, and I can barely afford to feed
The 4.
this other one. And I'm saying not every case, and some cases it's purely out of convenience. Like, it's not the right time for me. I want to do X amount of things before I become a mom. And to pursue an abortion just because it's inconvenient for you, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. And there's underlying moral issues and I think worldview issues at place in terms of how we view certain lives. So, like,
well, I was going to go ahead and finish that.
no, I was going to say, like, if you look at the locations of many Planned Parenthoods, they're in areas of color.
Yes.
Uh,
They're in poor areas.
Poor areas. And the number of abortions in black communities are noticeably higher.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you look across the globe, if you look at places like Finland, they have no Down syndrome people in Finland because they aborted them before they could be born.
Yes.
Like,
They killed them all.
that's evil.
That's straight out
just
of
evil.
That's straight out of the Nazi textbook. That's what Hitler was going after, was a perfect society.
Yep.
And it's, that's been suggested that we do that in the United States as well, that we don't have any of these problem people. They shouldn't have, what they're basically saying is they shouldn't have a chance to live and do great things,
and
even though
that
they
hurts
have a
my heart
disability.
because I have a niece who has Down syndrome, and she's awesome.
They're so joyous.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
They're like they make the best greeters at churches too, because they just love everybody.
Yeah. What I was going to say, though, to your point there was, I heard Graham Allen say it today, was it's the same thing with suicide. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right.
Abortion is it is a temporary problem. For every baby that goes into the foster system, there are 36 parents waiting to adopt that baby. And so when people are saying, "Oh, I don't want that kid to go into the foster system because the foster system doesn't work," it's utterly false. Actually, the foster system starts to fall apart the older the child is, and that's after the age of 12, I believe, is when this foster system starts to not work as well, because most people don't want to.
For infants, there's a shortage of adoptee. There's a shortage of babies.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. There's, like I said, 36 to every baby that goes into the foster system.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the things though I do want to say, and I agree with you, Mike, that we need. But there in every city I've lived in, there's ministries that do focus on meeting the needs of. And I think we don't.
Here too.
That doesn't get politicized.
Right.
They want to paint it that all we care about is stopping the abortion. We don't care about these moms that are going to live in utter squalor, which is assuming a lot, and assuming that they're not going to be able to feed their baby in a country where there's a food pantry in every town and there's food stamps and abundant.
I'm not saying I agree with that mentality.
I'm just saying, because I'm not saying you said this. The media, that's what they say. They make it sound like it's all we care about is stopping abortion, and we don't care about the moms. Yeah, which is if you look in your city, whatever city you're listening in, I guarantee you there are several in Buffalo, where we are. We had the lady from Sunrays on here, Nancy. And they do that. There's the Mother Teresa of Calcutta house here, which houses these single moms.
Compass Care.
Compass is really good.
Compass is awesome.
And I guarantee you, if you came to any of our churches and said, "I want to save my baby, I'm deciding not to have an abortion,"
we will help you.
We will help you.
We will help you. We are not going to turn you away. Yep.
Hey guys, we will be right back. We are going to take a quick coffee break, and we're going to try to find where Ryan went. So we will be back in just a minute. All right, guys, we're back. We found Ryan. He was not in the dumpster where I thought he would be.
When you found me,
when we found you, you do stink a little bit.
Yeah.
So
he's getting nervous about his wedding, so I think he was trying to hide in the roof.
Yeah.
it's more about. See, it's less that I'm nervous about getting married. It's more of like these days in between now are just pointless to me. It's like, can I just get there? You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's when you go to speak and you have like a few hours before you speak, you're like, can I just do this right now? Like, why?
Yeah.
These few hours are just like, ugh.
The anticipation
just waiting. It's like, why is it going so slow?
Yep.
So, guys, we're going to continue our conversation on the abortion bill in Texas in just a second. But Ryan brought something with him that we all appreciate.
I don't know why I went, that was really weird.
But he did not
really
bring crack cream. So.
I did not.
He didn't bring
I didn't
food
bring it
either.
I didn't think it would go good with this. I may have been wrong. That's true. Crack cream goes well with the crayons.
What kind of comments that?
Mud.
Is the sun hot?
Yeah. So, the coffee that we are drinking today is a weird coffee that I found on Instagram. And I'm pretty sure our phones are listening to me because every time I have conversations, all of a sudden new advertisements come across on my social media that I look at. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like to think that because it's fun.
It always feels like somebody's watching me.
And then the coffee that we have today is called Jot, J-O-T. You can go look them up at jot.co.com, J-O-T.co. It comes in, for those who take their coffee easy, is their slogan. It comes in a really professional box. What it is, it's a sort of make your own coffee, and they send you a kind of a cool bottle, kind of a cool packaging, but a really highly concentrated coffee like sludge syrup. And you put ice, you put milk, you put water,
crack cream,
whatever you want, and you can make the kind of coffee with strength, weakness, however you want it, the way you want it at home. You don't have to worry about the percolator or the drip pot. And they come with dark, it comes with light, it comes with different flavors. So I thought it was kind of interesting to little science experiment, make your own coffee.
I thought it was maple syrup when you first pulled it out, honestly.
Oh, that'd be disgusting. But that was like $20. That's it.
Really?
The whole thing was at $20 with shipping and tax.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be terrible for $20, and that was kind of cool. I think the bottle itself is worth it.
Yeah.
When that's gone, I will pop off the top of the bottle and put
You get a decent amount of coffee out of that.
What I'll do is
what are you gonna put in there?
Coke Zero and take little shots during the day. But okay, so
Okay, back to the abortion talk.
jot.co.
Or how do we segue back into this? You guys wondering
That's a
that?
good question.
Well, yeah, I have a question.
I think Mike brought up the good point though, and that's before Ryan just said he had a point right when I started talking. Is that it really is a worldview problem in our nation. It's not, it's really about what is life, what is a valuable life or not. And so and Bradley brought up, for Adolf Hitler, the undesirables were killed because they were not valuable to society, or they were an inconvenience to society, and that's where we are now.
Right. And so my question for you guys is, clearly we have this freedom to practice religion, right? And Stephen, did you go into what that means?
I did talk about briefly how their claim that this is a freedom of religion is ridiculous.
Right.
Because freedom of religion isn't a freedom to kill somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
So
all unanimous on that one.
But the question is, we have this worldview that we come into with already, showing that they're wrong because of our worldview. Say someone is sort of atheistic and they don't have any objective morals and very relativistic, and they like the freedom of religion in the Constitution. How are they to look at this? Because technically, if it's a part of their religion, should that person think then this is okay, especially living in a morally relativistic world?
Do you mean if they have a religion that accepts abortion as being okay?
Well, I'm just saying, say for
Like the Satanic Temple, for instance?
and I want to go very generic on this to get your guys' opinion. Say someone's in favor of freedom of religion even though they don't practice religion. And they think it's good because they don't want the government to have the amount of control the government wants to have. How are they to look at this?
Well, I think eventually it's only going to be a matter of time until their life is affected. All right. So unfortunately, with people who have a worldview that considers morality to be entirely subjective, they're not going to appeal to a higher moral standard until they've experienced injustice firsthand.
No one really believes
So
in
that's-
subjective morality.
Yeah.
No one truly believes in subjective morality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once it affects them, then they think it's wrong.
Right.
And
They've just made themselves the primary objective standard of truth.
yeah.
Like,
And
so
the other thing too is with that, like, I mean, there's been countless cultures throughout history that have had like gross practices throughout their religion, like I mentioned earlier. Like with the Aztecs, for example, they would sacrifice up to 80,000 people a year.
Right. But they didn't have our Constitution.
They did not have our constitution, but I would say that
No,
if
side note, I don't agree with them. Let me just put
no,
we know.
no.
Let me just put that out there right now.
So I would say that if somebody like that is like an atheist that says that we should have religious freedom, I would ask in what context, first of all,
Right.
because under the context of be a nice person and don't hurt people, the Aztec religion would not be allowed today. The Iroquois Indians would practice religious cannibalism. So, I mean, like, do you want religious cannibals in our world today? Do you want, or in our country today? Do you want 80,000 child sacrifice, 80,000 people who are children sacrificed and toppled down the mountain? Like, what is too much for you? Because
Right.
at this point, we are sacrificing human babies before they can even like do anything. And you know, like, that's my question, I guess.
Ryan, I mentioned earlier before you got here that our country is based on a Judeo-Christian morality. And one of the things that John Adams said was, here's his quote, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other." And so if you have a quote unquote subjective morality, and if our country has that, then our Constitution will fail. Our Constitution doesn't list what's morally wrong or not wrong. It appeals to a Judeo-Christian viewpoint. And so like what Bradley was saying about the Aztecs, they had their own morality, but it was still contrary to God's morality, and they still knew it was wrong.
Right. So do you think when we try to get more nuanced with these constitutional rights, we need to put them in the context that they were originally meant for?
Yeah, we are called to be salt and light.
Right.
No, I mean like in the original framers of the concept. I'm talking about someone who doesn't assume any religion. How are we to look at what they're doing?
You're asking if they should take it as a constitutionalist.
Right, because the question is, if you don't care of what people are doing, and we have the right of freedom of religion, how would you talk to that person to take away that right if they're claiming it to be a right of religion?
So
that's kind of like, do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I understand that.
What I would say is that a lot of people nowadays want a lawless society with like no police officers and stuff like that. So the thing I always say is that the law enforces the moral standards of the society.
Right.
The law is there to make sure that people behave morally. For example,
Rewards good and punishes evil.
do not murder. If you murder somebody, you go to jail for a certain time. You could get the death penalty.
Right.
These are things that you don't want. So people don't murder people. However, if you take away that law, the morality changes. So now it's okay to murder. So I would say that.
Well, what about Roe versus Wade? That made that then morally acceptable
to get abortion.
Yes.
So I agree with you. 100% agree with you guys. I'm just trying to get at the heart of the
it
problem.
It made it legal. It didn't make it morally acceptable.
Right. It made it legal in the morality of the law.
Yes.
Right.
But if you're going through a constitutional standpoint, murder. I think that the thing is that we have to define abortion as murder.
Yeah.
Because
so Roe versus Wade is an illegal law.
Yes. Because
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You're taking that baby's life.
You're taking life
right
away. So the thing
and
that I would say
now
is
you
that
change what constitutes a life. That's what they've had to do.
Yeah.
So it's morally illegal, not illegal.
Right.
Although
it is technically illegal.
It is technically illegal. But the thing is that Roe v. Wade changed what constitutes as a life. They they shifted the focus. So
so are you saying our constitutional laws contradict each other?
I'm saying that our constitutional law, the Constitution itself, does not give the right to abort somebody or kill somebody.
So they just made a law that contradicts the Constitution.
Well, yes.
Okay. That's why I read that quote by John Adams. We have to. There has to be a moral standard on the land. Right. Otherwise, everything falls apart. And our moral standard in the United States was founded on Judeo-Christian morality. So we are departing from that. Hence the chaos. Yeah. Hence the falling apart of the family. Hence the fact that all these babies are being aborted. Once you depart from that, and so the church, Christians are to be salt and light. Without salt and light, there is decay and darkness. And so that's why I do not buy that the church is supposed to stay out of politics. There's no compartmentalizing of our life into this part Jesus has something to do with, and this part he doesn't.
Yeah.
So we need to be out there being a light, shining light onto darkness, and preserving by being salt. And we failed, and so that's the decline of our culture. And what did I forget where in the epistles it says, if judgment is coming, it'll begin with his own church, with his church.
Yeah. Well, so say legislation changes in New York, and abortion is now illegal. Like, how much do you anticipate abortions going down in our state?
It'll go down, but some people just go over the border. That's what they're doing in Texas. They're going over next door neighboring states.
Into Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, I think that one of the problems that the human society faces is that when you make something illegal, people do it more. Yeah. So I anticipate that it would go if it suddenly became like overnight. It was just like now illegal to get an abortion. It would be good in a sense that not everybody can go down to Mexico to get an abortion.
Right.
So that would be like first thing would be really good.
Yeah.
But I think people would still find a way around the rule. But I just don't think as many people would find a way around the rule.
So what it sounds like you're saying then, Bradley, is we a few things. One, we have to understand the grounding of the sort of the philosophical constitution that we have. Like what was the filter that was used to create it?
Yes.
And another thing it sounds like you're saying is because we have freedom of religion doesn't give all religions freedom to do whatever they want.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have to ground then what can religions do with their freedom.
Yes.
It's to be a reasonable freedom.
Okay, so where would you ground then all religion, like in our constitution that we have?
standpoint?
Yeah. Where would you ground it?
Well, I would say
think this begs another question that I think we can talk about,
You
which is
can't-
interesting.
You can't kill people. I think that's reasonable.
I think that's a
that's very-
starting point.
a starting point.
Very reasonable, yeah.
Can I come back to something that Stephen said here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the Constitution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, in religious communities, particularly in Christian communities, we focus a lot on changing the legislation, and I think that's a helpful discussion and an important discussion. But sometimes, like we said, it's sometimes to the neglect of talking about these other issues where, if we're pro-life, let's be pro-life across the board in these scenarios. So not just pro not killing the child, pro the mother's life, pro the baby's life. A consistent ethic with this. I think that's important. But also there's a little bit of nuance here, and Stephen and I were talking about this before we started recording. Like if you make legislation too restrictive, it becomes problematic. Because like take my wife and I, we had a situation before our son was born. My wife had an ectopic pregnancy. So the egg was not in the uterus. The egg was in the fallopian tube.
Ooh, yeah.
So in some places where this heartbeat bill was, and I'm not, saying that this is the case with Texas, but there would be some cases where she wouldn't have been able to get the procedure that she needed to get to keep her life safe. Right. And so we have to consider that too, that, sometimes it's very rare, like in 99% of the cases, abortions are wrong. They're evil. They shouldn't happen. But there are rare instances where a pregnancy isn't viable. The life of the baby isn't viable. And for the health and the safety of the mother's life, the pregnancy has to be terminated.
In that case,
That's
it's not.
very
It's
rare.
not an abortion,
Right.
Because
and I agree with you.
And focus on the family's article,
I agree with you.
ectopic pregnancies. They aren't going in trying to kill the baby. They are trying to save the life of the mother, and they lose the baby's life in the meantime.
Right.
So they're not okay. Let's go abort this baby. Go into they are trying to save the mother's life. So that's a difference,
To
and that's
add-
extraordinarily rare, anyways.
To add on
It is,
to
but
that,
it happened to us.
So it's not really abortion.
It's not the
No,
definition that they're working with.
It's not.
to
But-
add on to that too.
And it was a situation where two people really wanted to have a baby.
Real quick,
they
so
wanted the
abortion,
baby. Yeah. Right.
Real quick,
Yeah.
abortion is going into the mother seeking to end the life of the baby.
Yes.
Right.
Not trying to save the life of the mother.
Right.
Yes. There's a very different
Yep.
definition. But I was going to say to your point too, Stephen, was that that ectopic pregnancy, if you didn't do that, both lives would be at risk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's not even that like, oh, my schedule's shifted for next Thursday.
Right.
It's both the mother and the child will die.
So you could put it this
Exactly.
way, and I'm spitting this off the top of my head, and I got to think about this more. So clearly, the premise could be wrong. You could say, premise one, it is morally wrong to kill an innocent human being. Premise two, abortion kills an innocent human being. Conclusion, therefore, abortion is wrong.
Right.
And
I agree
you
with
avoid the one you had because it's now almost not innocent.
Right.
To the effect of it's the baby's literally killing the mother.
Right.
I think that you have to be
right.
careful with that framework because innocent could mean something different.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would have to define the terms out and
Yeah,
stuff. I'm just
yeah.
spitting off the top of my head.
Right.
So
And-
But I would say, like in your context, Mike, you both wanted to have the child. It wasn't like you were sitting there like, oh, this not now, not like I want to get rid of this thing, this problem. It was
there was no choice to save the baby.
yes,
No, there was no option.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think that has to be parsed out. But what we've seen happen in our culture is that when you talk about innocent life, now there's this redefinition of what life is. life is no longer something that begins at conception. It's something else. Like it's no longer a baby in the womb. It's just a clump of cells.
And in fact, at conception, all the genetic material for human life is present.
Yeah.
All of it.
Oh,
and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but I'm saying for our listeners, and Jesus, it says in scriptures, he knew, he knit us together in our mother's womb. You picture him knitting, like you picture a grandmother knitting.
Yeah.
There's care. And then somebody reaches in there, grabs a string and yanks it as he's knitting it and undoes what he undoes what he's
Yeah.
building.
And I think it's easier for me to talk with someone rather than saying a person, because everyone defines one's the person. Like, is it intellectual fat? Like, there's debates over personhood is so
And
terribly.
is it-
but the question is it human? Right. And I think that's every human.
It's human DNA in that.
I have never seen a hamster come out of a human being.
Right,
ever.
that's what I'm saying. Like you said, at the earliest zygote stage, it's still a human.
Yes.
And do humans have innate qualities that ought not to be destroyed off of just whim for no purpose?
Yeah, like a soul.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, and then there's that question: is like, when does somebody have a soul? Is it in the womb? Is it at consciousness? So that's
I think Thomas Aquinas said like 7 days, something like that.
Those are very theoretical questions, but
So here's my theory on that, and I have a question for you guys afterwards, specifically probably first to Stephen about this topic. My theory is one of the qualities that God gave us made in His image. Gave us an ability when man and woman come together to create a human. We also have the ability, to a sense, to create a soul. Where whatever ability our physicality has, both spiritual and material, also have the ability to create something spiritual and material as well. So I like to think that's just an amazing gift God like imbued into the human race to be able to do that in His image. But to Stephen, then, I like this idea because the more and more I think about it, and I know a lot of pastors and people would disagree with me, I think we have to start asking the question when it comes to the separation between state and church. Wouldn't you think, if you have a worldview and the morals of your worldview belong to this sort of philosophical and theological like choice you make, would be the foundation for any political decision you're doing? It is very difficult for me to not want to talk to someone about their theology, even in politics, because that is where the roots are. I don't necessarily, and if you can clear up for me what they mean by separation of church and state.
Well, separation of church and state is nowhere in the Constitution or any of our documents. That came from Thomas Jefferson writing a letter to a friend. He mentioned separation of church and state, and his point was completely the opposite point. His point was that the government should have no influence on the church.
Okay.
And there shouldn't be a state church. He did not, it's clear he didn't mean the church shouldn't be involved in government, because they established a government where the church was heavily involved, and a lot of the signers of the Constitution one of them was I think a Roman Catholic priest, and I think one of them was a Protestant, and the church was heavily involved. The concept of separating church and state would have been foreign to them. So completely foreign.
When someone in a courtroom goes, well, separation of church and state, you just go.
There's no bounds for it. There's no legal bound for that.
But what the crap is that?
That's why it never holds up.
Where are you going for that? Okay,
It never holds up.
Okay,
because it's nowhere legal.
Is there a precedent for it, you think, already in society?
It's just become a catchphrase.
Okay, so
it's become like this. Like Christians use it as an excuse to not to do anything about politics.
Interesting. Okay,
right.
So
That's exactly what it is, probably.
Interesting. Okay, so yours, because I agree with you. There is, like, I don't know how you have a political conversation without first asking them, where are your morality
Yeah,
lying?
well, your worldview shapes everything.
Yeah,
Shapes
I don't.
Everything.
I don't get it. And people are like, "Well," I'm like, "But if, like you said, Stephen, I want to have a conversation without talking about religion. Well, I first need to ask you a lot of questions. Well, let's separate it. It's like how,
Right.
How do you
But
separate?
we're religious creatures by nature.
Correct.
Like that's it's problematic to not talk about religion, because everybody has a religion.
right.
Everybody serves
whether they
somebody.
recognize it as a religion or not. Like people who are for abortion, they have a religion. It's
So
not
do you,
mine, but
do you see then any sense where the government cannot allow a religion legally? Or if all of a sudden you declare
As long
a
as it
religion,
doesn't violate anybody else's rights, like their to life, liberty, and their pursuit of happiness, or property was the original
Right.
term they used. As long as they don't do that, and that's an example of why the Satanic Temple does not have a right, because of their religion, to grab an infant from somebody and stab a knife into it.
right?
And there's literally no difference between that and yanking a baby
Oh,
apart
hold
limb
on.
for limb in the
They
womb.
want the baby to be born and
No,
then kill the
no.
baby?
I'm giving an example.
yeah.
It's an
Oh,
extreme
okay.
example. Nobody would say they have the right to grab their infant and stab them. Nobody
Right.
would say that because of their religion. Likewise, they do not have a right to tear a baby apart limb for limb in the womb because of their religion.
Right.
It's exactly the same thing.
So the determining factor for them then is location.
It's morality. It's a different
Location.
it's a different morality. Right.
Can I jump on that point you
Yeah.
just made there, Stephen? I think one of the things that we need to talk about more is what actually happens in an abortion, because I think
gruesome.
a lot of people think that it's, and I used to think that it was just an injection and then it like deteriorates the cells.
Like putting your dog to sleep or something.
Yeah, the baby
Oh,
is
that's still brutal.
the baby is alive in there. Like the baby is not just like asleep the baby is alive.
They have pain receptors.
They have pain receptors. They feel everything.
Oh yeah.
They go up in there and they cut
Just
that.
quick disclaimer: if somebody's disturbed by this, now might be the time
push mute.
to push mute.
But-
or
Try to get
fast
less
forward.
graphic as
But-
possible,
yeah.
Bradley.
Yeah.
But also, you should hear about it because this is affecting society,
Yeah.
and people don't talk about it, and it causes bigger issues.
Just don't make
So
noises.
even if you are disturbed by this stuff, like
Yeah.
you should know about it at least so you can defend
Sure.
it or defend from it. So they cut the baby apart and then they suck it through a tube, basically. That is the least gruesome way I can make it.
Alive.
Alive.
I listened to a podcast earlier today where they talked about in depth what they do in an abortion. I paused that podcast 8 times,
Oof.
and I went to the bathroom every single time. I do not get nauseous. Nothing. I had to stop. It was awful.
At the end of World War II, they when the Americans came into Nazi Germany, they made the residents of these towns walk through the concentration camps right after they took over, and they wanted them to see the ditches full of bodies. They wanted them to see the squalor conditions. Because why? Because they wanted to live their little lives in peace and turned a blind eye or pretended they didn't want to see the horror of it. And so many of us, like I think everybody should go online and watch what happens inside of an abortion. There's videos of it. You need to watch it happen. Don't cover your eyes. Don't try to hide yourself from it. Why? Because we need to know the full. We are guilty of their blood if we simply don't do anything about it and don't want to see it, because that's the same thing that the Germans did. They didn't want to see it.
Yeah, because interesting. I heard you guys talk about like specific reasons. I remember Nancy from Sunray said it was like 89% or some ungodly high amount of number just for convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their argument, like you said, is like, well, do you want them to live in squalor? I got 4 or 5. Like in my mind, what is the one additional kid going to put you in the poorhouse when you already have 7 of them?
No one's living in true squalor.
If all of a sudden it's like
anyways.
Lamborghini, one
they're-
kid, like tent.
Well,
what-
yeah, and we were talking about this too. That like sometimes people are in that place, and I think it's a mental space of being in fear and being legitimately afraid of not being able to provide for another child.
Right.
Stephen mentioned this, and I can't remember if it was before or after we hit record, that there is no shortage of help that people can get in those cases. So if you're in a situation where you're thinking about this and you're desperate and you're considering doing this, like find a local church.
Call our church,
Call our
Center Point
church.
Church, Faith United Methodist Church,
we-
both in Lancaster.
Yeah,
Call us.
We will help you. Like we will get you connected to the right people, to the right ministries that can help you. We will come alongside of you and help you. So to say that people are in this desperate place where they don't have any other options, it's not true. But we want to give them those options and make them aware.
I think any of our churches, the chapel, the center, we're talking about saving a life here. There is no extent of expense that we would go to save a life.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I said earlier, again, I just want to bring it up because it's important. Every baby that enters the foster system, there are 36 parents waiting for that baby. There are not enough babies in the foster system for parents that want to adopt.
Yeah.
The chances of that baby not getting adopted are less, like they're less than 0.00001%.
Yeah. And Bradley's talking about young, like infants.
Yeah, I'm talking under the age of 5.
Yeah.
Do you know what statistic the amount of abortions are outside of marriage?
I'd imagine they're higher. I don't know exact statistics.
I'd say most of them.
Yeah.
Way higher. Okay.
I would say close to 70%.
Right.
Oh,
and there
wow,
are
okay.
cases where the guy oftentimes abandons the woman. She's just left figuring out what to do, and she's desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Judeo-Christian worldview, to some extent, protects that a lot more.
Yeah.
No sex before marriage. Don't do this.
It's almost like
in
God
this
knows what
covenant.
He's talking about.
Yeah, it's almost a covenant that you both go into willingly accepting.
And to look at, I think James' words apply here, that religion that is pure and faultless is this, to care for the widows and the orphans in their distress. Now, granted, these women that find themselves in these situations aren't technically widows,
Right.
And these aren't technically orphans, but this is
Single
a
moms.
single mom that's been left without the support that she had from the dad. This is a child that's been left without one of his or her parents. This is pure and faultless religion, to care for these individuals. in their
Second greatest
distress.
commandment.
And I
Love the neighbors.
I do want to say, I don't know how much time we have left, but I do want to say this. If anybody here, I dated a girl one time who had 2 abortions. And if you did that, there is forgiveness.
Absolutely.
We don't want you to grovel and Satan wants you to rule in shame for the rest of your life. But Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins, knowing that you would commit abortion, have that abortion. He knew it, and he still holds his arms out with grace, asking you to repent, which means to turn around and come to him and trust fully in what he did on the cross for your sins. He paid the price for that abortion and every other sin that you have done. There's complete clean slate available for you in Jesus Christ.
Also, you can take your experience and help others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just don't need to go up. Hands are clean.
Yep.
Like no, you've changed, and like I need to give witness to other people who are on the edge of thinking of doing it.
Can I mention something real quick too? I was talking about what happens in an abortion earlier. Do you guys know what happens after the abortion?
For the
They
woman,
throw 'em away like trash.
Vaguely, yes,
For
but
both.
it's
So
very problematic for the woman.
Women that have an abortion actually have a 50% chance of having a baby after an abortion. Their chances of having
so
a
their
baby
fertility rate goes down.
50%.
And
Wow,
an 80% increased chance of breast cancer.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, because of
And-
the sudden change in hormones by aborting the baby.
80% chance
80% increase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Breast
Wow.
cancer chances.
Wow.
Also,
Wow.
on top of that, you have I think it's a 72% chance of infection as well from an abortion, where you can get serious diseases that will kill you within a couple of weeks.
Right.
So abortions are not safe. A lot of politicians say that, we just want safe legal abortions. There's nothing safe about an abortion where it takes an innocent life.
Well, it's completely unnatural.
Yes. Also, on top of that, again, not everybody wants to be grossed out, but I mean, if you want to delve deeper, I will point you in the direction of Jocko Boons. I will link him in
is that the military
description.
guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
I will link him in the description of this podcast. They actually take...
Great grandson of Daniel Boone's.
Yeah, there you go. He's French.
Daniel Bounet.
I thought you were serious.
But Jocko does a lot of studies with like prostitution and like fights against prostitution, stuff like that. But he also talks a lot about abortion. He's a Christian. And
He's on YouTube, you said?
he's on YouTube. You can find him everywhere.
Does he have a podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
He's on a lot of podcasts as well. But the thing that I wanted to talk about is that the remains of the abortion do not simply get buried in a ground or cremated or something like that. They actually sell off the parts of the baby to different bidders. Now, whether you want to believe that or not, that's fine, or believe this, but they actually take those remains and they turn it into a drug. And that drug is sold by the cartel. It's sold by all these different people in power.
There is a black market, yeah.
They use it in prostitution to get the girls and boys drugged up so that their brain ends up melting from this drug. It is the strongest drug in the world, and there is almost nothing about it on the internet because it is so heavily censored by these abortion clinics.
Do you know what's the name of it?
I don't know the name of it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but
I don't know about any of that stuff.
That's extreme if it's the case.
The after abortion is something that people don't talk about. Suicide rates go up like 75% in women that have an abortion. It goes up. I think it goes up 50% for men.
Because of guilt.
Wow, yeah.
The University of Pittsburgh just got busted. Did you guys hear about that? They got busted for caught red-handed with they were buying organs from babies that were the organs were harvested while the baby was still alive, and they were using them for studies, which is illegal.
Yes.
But the University of Pittsburgh was caught purchasing this, and they're in big trouble. Some of those, that went up the department.
Yeah, but that's actually a common.
So that's
thing.
one of the ones that got caught.
Yeah,
yeah, it happens a lot more.
It happens more than that. And also, I also wanted to. I will link this also in the description. Steven Crowder, he's like a podcast host, TV show host. Louder with Crowder. He did a undercover video about a year ago as of recording, and it was he sent a woman who was, I believe she was 7 months pregnant into an abortion clinic with a hidden camera, and her and her friend went in there and they filmed the process of the abortion.
Wow.
They didn't actually do the abortion, but they filmed what happens when you go in for an abortion. There was a lady in there that was 8 months pregnant. Her baby was going to be delivered the next month, and she was going to get an abortion. They ended up talking her out of it and praying for her and stuff like that. And she ended up going to a church, and I think she ended up becoming saved. But when you go in for an abortion, they don't show you the sonogram because women are, I think it's, I can't remember the number off the top of my head. It's like 85% more likely not to have the abortion because they see their baby for the first time.
Some states have sonogram laws where you have to see a sonogram, and the pro-choicers, pro-deathers, they kick and scream about that, and that's because of what Bradley said.
Most moms don't go through it.
If you look at those states, their numbers for abortions are far lower than they are in New York, which is not a sonogram state.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this gentleman. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's from. If you want to look more into it, I think it's the Alliance Defending Freedom organization. His name's Dr. Mike Adams, and he's a Christian, and he debates about abortion. And you should look at. He's on YouTube and find some of his debates.
Mike
about
Adams.
Mike Adams. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and just look at if you go into some of these abortion clinics. I'll give you an example. When my wife and I were getting ready to welcome our daughter into the world, we were looking at different options that we could do outside of the traditional hospital birth. So we ended up going with the home birth, and the reason why, on our bed. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I caught her too. It was awesome.
Oh,
Did you throw those sheets away?
We cleaned them. Yes.
Oh Lord.
Yes, aggressively cleaned them.
I would throw them away.
So it's a keepsake,
I'm not coming over to your house anymore.
But anyway, actually, I don't know if we threw them away. We might have.
What else have you not thrown away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyway, we ended up going with a home birth, and the reason why is we knew we didn't want to do a hospital birth where they would have forced you to get an epidural or get a C-section. My wife didn't want to do that. She wanted the whole experience of the pain, the process, everything. And why she wanted that, I don't know. I'll never fully understand it, and I'll never know what it's like to be pregnant. My wife asked me once.
Thanks the Lord.
And my wife asked me once, she said, do you ever wish you were pregnant? I said, do you ever wish you weren't? And she said, no. And I said, that's my answer. And but we ended up going with a home birth. And the reason why
men cannot get pregnant no matter what our culture says.
No,
Yeah.
sorry guys, you can't get pregnant.
There are not menstruating people.
Now,
Yeah, no. But
if you are bleeding and you're a man, you got health problems.
You need to go see a doctor
yes,
right now.
immediately. But one of the options that we were looking at was this. There's a birthing clinic or whatever in downtown Buffalo. And what we didn't realize is that this is also a place that coupled as an abortion clinic, right? So we
I know
went
the
in
one.
there. We went in there. We were in the waiting room. No lie, the walls were lined with posters of with women's faces on them promoting abortion, saying
You're like, we're not doing here.
saying you can get I got an abortion, you can too. Essentially, is what all of these posters are saying. It's not just
It's like
it's not just
I
giving
got the
that-
flu shot.
Yeah, it's
can
not just
too.
it's not just an option. Like it's something that's being propagated,
Like it's cool.
encouraged.
Yeah.
Right. It's propaganda. And I got this eerie, sick. I felt nauseous, and I looked at my wife. I'm like, we cannot do this. Like we're not staying here.
Yeah.
So, it is pervasive in our culture, and for people who think it's just, I don't know, that it's not a big deal or that it's going away. It's not, and it's here.
Yeah.
It's very much here, and it's being not only given as an option, it's being celebrated.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
one thing on that is that, like with the posters promoting it and stuff like that, I always say this, that my generation is the easy way out generation.
Yeah.
We, like millennials, we want to be able to push a button and have our food delivered to our house right away.
Yep.
We have the Chick-fil-A app, which I use weekly.
Just once.
Sometimes more, lots more. But like we have all these things that we just push a button and it's there. And they want a easy way out of their problems.
Yeah.
They want, same with like mental health, and I say this a lot. And I if you're mentally ill, I understand what you're going through to an extent, but a lot of people just want a drug that makes it go away. If you're obese, you just want a drug that makes it go away. You just want to take a pill and it's done. Abortion is not a button that you push and you get out of it. You have to deal with that for the rest of your life. And people are, it doesn't just affect you, it affects the baby.
Yep.
And it doesn't just affect you and the baby, it affects the people around you. Think about your mother that was hoping for a grandchild. You just took that away from her. Think about the person that you slept with to get that baby. They now have to deal with that as well.
Yeah.
It's not just a two-person issue.
I've met a handful of women doing church things that went into it thinking, I need to get rid of this problem. Didn't do it. And then afterwards it was never a problem in the first place. I love my kid.
Right.
And so there's another way of looking at it. What you think could be a disaster could be one of the greatest things in your entire life.
Yeah, and today, like piggybacking off of what Bradley was saying, we live in a culture where we want benefits without any consequences. So people want to have sex. They want the benefits and the pleasure that comes with sex. But the thing is, God designed sex for pleasure. And I believe he created it for pleasure. I'll go on record saying sex is awesome.
but that's not
Within
the primary
right
purpose
context.
of it.
Plug
your ears, Bradley.
Yeah. So it is for pleasure. That's part of it, but it's for procreation.
That's the primary
There's a point.
So if you try to divorce those two things and say, no, I'm only going to do have sex for pleasure, and not think about the fact that this is also an act that is for making more life, that's problematic. And I think we live in an age where people want to get rid of the consequences of their choices and not deal with the consequences of their choices. Now, I don't believe that the baby is a bad consequence. There are good consequences. But we have to reframe how we see this life. So, yeah.
Well, I don't really think we have to go a full hour.
Yeah. I think we've exhausted this topic as best as we can.
And
we
you
can
guys
keep
have
going
like
around
what
circles.
15 minutes before I came in the plug and
yeah.
chug.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I could talk about this for hours because I think it's just so terrible that it needs to be talked about more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love talking about terrible things, but
Well, yeah, but you understand what I'm saying.
I do. I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Caffeinated Christian Podcast. Wherever you listen to your podcast, be sure to like and subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. We also want to let you know that after expenses, we give all the proceeds that come in to like-minded nonprofits in our area that are kingdom-minded. So whenever you like and subscribe and share, you are helping further the kingdom of God in the Buffalo region. We also want you to know that you have ways to get in touch with us, interact with us on the interwebs. So if you want to go to the Caffeinated Christian 706 at gmail.com, you can email us with questions, suggestions, topic ideas. We will gladly take those in from you guys and hear what you have to say. If you want to interact with us on Facebook and Instagram, you can find us on Facebook at the Caffeinated Christian Podcast, and on Instagram, actually it's the exact same handle for Instagram, the Caffeinated Christian Podcast. All right, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Have a great day.